Hi, Taurus. Alright, welcome to this place, and welcome back if you're returning. It's early, just a second. So, I hope you had a good birthday. Alright, so, and happy now whenever you arrive. Okay, Taurus, a few little things before we jump in. I feel like a person is really, someone's learning by example. Maybe they find an example that is very helpful for them to adjust, or something that's inspiring, right? An example of someone's character, or what they're achieving in this life, or the faith in their heart, the courage in their soul, something like that. What else? I guess that's it. Alright, let's open up your cards. Where do we start? Oh, good. Oh, good. Awesome. Okay. So we're making a serpentine. Okay. Just a minute. Your sun and your moon. The sun and the moon. I don't know if this is wanting to, suggesting to tap in or, watch both of those signs, or if it's just masculine, feminine energy. The eclipses, which, remember, those affect you in, a kind of funny way. A little bit of a sideways way until October. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. Alright, where you want to trust yourself in this time. Sometimes it's bright. Oh, Cancer had a similar energy to this. Oh, we're in Gemini season when I'm recording this. That makes sense. It's going to be a little bit of this, a little bit of that, right? Super happy, da 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 da, everything's good, everything's great, it's totally awesome. And then it's so maybe this is a bit of a struggle in the self or with something, but I feel like when we're dealing with the sun and the moon, this is more of the way that we're perceiving a situation versus the literal reality. Okay, where do we start? Let's start in the heart. Okay, you had a reading a long time ago that said, "Hey heart, how you doing?" You ask yourself, "Hey heart, how you doing today?" Right? How you doing? I see someone. How are you? How are you? So some of you are working towards more of a little bit of a independent happy in yourself. That's really important. That's kind of the focus. And you want to work on that, especially in wanting to improve family relations, or your romantic situations, things like that. It could even help your money. For some of you, and I actually thought about this before your reading, where it's kind of I feel like this space is getting, it's still trippy, but it's getting a little bit more specific. So it kind of is personal energy, right? Versus this obscure way of looking at it. Anyone can learn from anything, sure. but it's kind of getting, again, something's getting a little bit more specific. So you actually really want to focus on, like, maybe you want to look at your sun and your moon, and if you know in your map, these houses are going to help you to understand, like, what you're supposed to focus on. Maybe for some of you, creating that for yourself, or adjusting those places. Now you have a line of earth. You have a line of earth right down the middle. Where does that lead to? Oh, the Four of Wands. So some of you are looking for a home, or some of you are looking for a relationship. This goes back into happiness. So, well, I heard if you want to make something happen, oh, I saw someone waiting, like, at like a cross, like a cross point, like a four-way, and they were like waiting for the green light. They're like waiting for the green light, but then they come to realize that, like, it's not a stop light, it's a stop sign. It'll never turn green. You have to just go. I mean, you want to look both ways, and you want to make sure when you get to a four-way, right, it's like whoever gets there first gets to go first, right? If you got there last, well then, I guess, or fourth, if you will, then you just go. A person goes when it's time for them to go, but you shouldn't just be staying somewhere and stuck in a situation, because, again, that stop sign ain't never going to turn green. It's again, it's a perspective. Someone's like, I gotta wait till it turns green, and it's like, no, it's not what you think it is. Okay, let's see here. What did you learn from your ex-partner or partners? You know, it's 2023. People got multiple partners. What have you learned from your from your exes? That's what's going on in the heart. Like, because I feel like everyone in this time thus far has talked a little bit about confidence, and how, I don't know if, like, humanity is going through a little bit of a humility stage, like a little bit of humbleness, which is to me is a good thing. You don't want to be arrogant in life. That doesn't get us very far, right? We hit a wall pretty quick with that, or shortly thereafter. But this is more like you find the humbleness, and then you realize, it's like Nina the magic mama. Nina, I love you. It's like, Nina always talks about where, and she's Scorpio too, which is so perfect, like, where you have to love you. Because then you'll stop seeking that from other people. Do you know what I mean? And if everyone has that love in themselves, because they know that, like, however you want to come to find this, what love means, then again, everyone is just their own bubble of love, and wherever we go is love, and then life is a lot better. It doesn't mean we don't have struggles, and we don't have bummer days, and don't know what's going on, and feel like everything that was just, like, solidly built, we get worried, like, why does this feel upside down? It's like, it's okay. It's okay. It's trying to adjust love. And for some of you, this does have to do with your inner child, if you're aware of that. What is their, do you ever talk to them? Do you live your life as if you have a child, like, on your hip? Because I actually feel like you should in this time. I don't know if this is about your actions, perhaps, or future considerations, or the way you communicate, or what have you. You know, things, maybe that'll give you a little bit more security in understanding, like, oh, okay, I have to, someone's like, I heard someone say, oh, okay, I have to do this. I have to do it this way. And then I heard, I want to do it this way. Yeah, I have to, and then it's like, I want to, right? Technically, you are, I have, or I possess. And one of the most important things for a Taurus, in my perspective, to possess, because you're exalted in the moon, is emotional confidence in taking, this Emperor, remember, is a big card for you. Most Tauruses actually are Aries, but you have a softness. It's like most Libras or Scorpios, but there's a softness because it's Venus versus Mars, right? But that shouldn't interrupt your ability for conscientious decisions that are, I heard, spiritually sound, and actually where you feel good about who you are, right? We can't really do anything to, for instance, like try to get God to love us more, or try to get, like, people to love us more. It's whether we love ourselves or not. Do you know what I mean? And I know sometimes that's hard because no human is happy all the time. Sure. And that's a part of the honesty of life. You know? I heard you don't have to hide. Because someone hides how they feel in relation to... someone hides how they feel. Underneath it all. So, let's go as if the serpentine we were talking about. Where do we start, though? Well, I'm over here. I'm the messenger, right? So I'm gonna go to what from me to you, right? So what we start out with is someone who actually has. There's really good intuition here, but it could be a little murky. At least initially, because of mother wounds or other females. Now, I see it's important to pay attention to your dreams, because your dreams are going to be giving you an indication to what's going on with you emotionally and having to do with your confidence. Now, when someone is questioning something and they don't know, remember that there's still guideposts to keep you in a zone so that you don't veer too far. But you got to keep your head up. And remember that there's a lot more. It's the way you look at it. Like someone's like, again, like, oh, I got to wait for this to turn green. Right? It's like for this blood in the Five of Cups to turn into the green, to turn this green color. And it's like, no, you don't have to wait for that. You just have to turn around and find these Two of Cups. This is emphasizing, please tap into what you have learned from your exes, your marriage even, like something like that. You want to be aware of that, because this could be one of those things where some of you are like, I don't feel loved because of what has happened. But I suppose even though you are loved indefinitely by spirit, and you can't prove anything again to do it. Again, love comes from within, but you got to know, I see it's important to know what we've learned from our family or from our previous experiences, especially in a, 25, when you were 25, 26, something about that time frame. So, but you know what? There's a lot of intuition with the moon. There's a lot of magic with it. So I guess also around the full moon or around certain stages of the moon in this time, I feel like some of you are going to be low energy. So just be aware of that. You may be like, I don't have any friends, or I don't know about this, or I don't know. It's like you get low in that stage. And I don't know if this is some of you like, oh, I'm single, or like, oh, I don't know what to do, or I don't know if I don't know if I'm enough. I don't know if I have enough. It's just like, I heard you got enough gas and you don't have to wait for that stop sign to turn green. You just have to stop fully. And maybe some of you have been in this place, I heard emotionally, where you like stopped fully somewhere along the path. And now it's time for you to look both ways, make sure it's your turn so it's fair, and then figure out which way you're going. Because I guess this also shows me that you have options right now. And maybe for some of you that's what's happening, and it's a little, you're like, oh wait, my life is like really open. So I guess in ways of what you're wanting, remember that you want to make sure that you are choosing with good discernment, right? I heard there's nothing wrong if you take a wrong turn, but you want to have a bit of direction. This isn't just like going for a burn ride, okay? It's it's literally, I'm trying to get to this place, right? There's a destination that's necessary. Of course, enjoy yourself as you go along. Remember, when you feel bummer about, well, I guess we talked about that. And you know what? Sometimes it's okay to be like, you know, this doesn't, Cancer talked about this, where it's like, man, this doesn't feel good. And it's like, sometimes when that happens, like a bunch of things might happen to come through, right? Moon. It might come through and be like, oh wait, this and this and this. Oh. And then I heard, oh. It's like it triangulates something. It helps a person understand more about where they are. Because you have Six of Pentacles upright, so this shows me that your physical world is actually even Steven. I would say for most of you, because this, to me, this is like a, nothing much changes in the physical world. Like it kind of, in some way or another, it stays the same. Now, of course, you have an opportunity to change that if you want to. Like, you also have the Three of Pentacles, so you could add to that. This is what some of you have to do. Three of Pentacles, Six of Pentacles, to create this Nine of Pentacles in the center. But right now, it's in the reverse. So some of you, if you're in a relationship or having to do with your family, some of you are not happy with that. But I suppose, well, the heart has to be more honest about something. We talked about this a while ago. Do you remember? It was called, like, I think I originally titled it, like, the difference between truth and honesty. And then we changed it to finally free to be all that you want to be. And maybe, again, that's a part of it, is I feel like some of you are stepping into a new stage where you're like, wait, again, you've been like waiting. I want that. Why isn't it green? Like someone's actually started to get a little bit like, wait, they can feel that something's been too long. And then they're like, oh, wait a second, that's a stop sign. That's not going to change. I have to make it change. So you have to make something change. And again, remember, you have opportunity. And I heard, where are you going? You know, and sometimes we just have to choose a direction. You know, be like, I'm going south, north, east. Like, you move in these kinds of ways. I mean, I heard as long as it's not resourcefully draining, then you can move in those kinds of ways, because I guess Spirit will also guide you, because you have this little Page of Wands, which is so adventurous. It was just exactly 20 minutes. Its spirit is guiding this, right? And actually, that's a card that represents bravery and a bit of courage. Both of these are courage. Maybe some of you want to think back when you were a little kid, when you were really brave. Like, really brave. Like, you did something that was like, where you were like, oh, I don't know, like when you used to go play. I mean, most of you grew up back in the day, right? So it's kind of like, we would go play, you know, the parents would be like, bye, and you'd be gone all day, right? And you take care of yourself as a child. Oh, I feel bad for the newest generation. It's like, they're not going to know how. But it's like, that energy, it's like, you can take, I guess that's the point, is you can take care of yourself. And you know, this Page of Wands wants to do something. Right? They're inspired by the little things. They pick up on little, they're like, oh, okay. Like, aware of what the possibilities are. I heard, how are you different from your family? Good question. How are you the same as your family? Look at these fire signs. Fiery folks. Okay, Taurus. I don't want any more cards. I want to just read what we have here. I see for most of you, you should save your money. Figure out your bills. Look at your basic day-to-day. That's also going to help you keep your emotional space, like, settled. Could be that some of you have to go through physical things, and or at very least go through things emotionally, physically, that and really look at like what you need. Because I could actually see for a lot of you, you feel you could either be at a distance from your family, or where you feel kind of like an observer. And then I'm going back to that example where the person's driving, and it's almost like there was a kind of like a caravan, like, oh, we're all gonna drive, da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, someone's like, oh yeah, I'll meet you up there, but then they don't have this, before you were, I guess before, someone was going along and just kind of following like what was in front of them, but now something wants you to lead. Okay? And actually, this is suiting. We talked about this in your yearly reading. I'm going to post those because we're halfway through the year. But like Taurus, you, Pisces, Libra, a little bit of Cancer, a little bit of Capricorn because they're kind of shy, that axis. It's like all of these were meant to become leaders, which are usually like the, you know, you ask a Venusian energy, like, what do you want for dinner? And they're like, whatever you want. You know, it doesn't know sometimes. It has a hard time making up its mind. And again, being like, I'm going here, you want to go? Like making these kind of decisions. And again, I guess in some way you need confidence for that. You know, I'm choosing this. This is the direction of that. But I heard, don't wait around for that stop sign to turn green, because it won't ever do it. I don't know what that's about, but it's just, huh. Let's see if there's anything else. Taurus, let's put these away. You know, Gemini had this card also. And Cancer had the Ten of Cups. So these two in your map, what are we talking about? The Moon and Gemini. So we're talking about how we feel, or writing about how, like, what's going on in the underworld, right? The not so surface world, because you're very steadfast, right? You're very slow to anger. And because you're the opposite of Scorpio, feelings are scary because, well, that's the way it is. And that's why you have to acknowledge them and not just bury them, because then this is when it's just like, I just saw a bunch of zombies come out of a graveyard, like, like on certain moons, you know what I mean? And it's just like, you're just a little kid, like, like running. Who did you hang out with when you were a little kid? Who was your best friend when you were little? Also, what kind of animals were around you when you were little? What experiences do you have with animals? Now, to close this out in a practical way, I see for most of you, financially, work, these kinds of things, I feel like this is really awesome. Especially if any of you, like, run your own, like, are trying to start your own business, or, like, you've been putting in. This is taking, again, sort of a leadership role in some way or another in your occupation or in your day-to-day, is going to help you keep working on that. Because I actually see that it's good. Just don't be frivolous with your money at this time. I wouldn't rely on anyone else's money financially, say your family or whatever. No. No one's a child here. So, now the cool thing is as we move along, once whatever this bottom is, better to start here and deal with this than starting at the top and being like, everything's fine, like, yeah. I mean, positivity, sure, thumbs up, go for it. That helps. There's a balance here, sun, moon. But if you start with this and keep that surface, like I heard, your job and everything will be fine, but you're not going to feel that great. So address what it is that feels scary right now. Acknowledge it. I heard tell God about it. Tell somebody about it. Don't, and I know for some of you, you might want to hide this in yourself or process it yourself. You can. But if you get to a point where you get stuck again, like, because this is all really solo energy. It's like maybe some of you do have to figure out, maybe the only way to figure it out is to figure it out in yourself. Then you can go out into the world. Cancer also had this card. It's like maybe you got to go in there and then figure out what it is, right? Because I heard no one was putting a brick on the brake for you to be at that stop sign for so long. Do you know what I mean? No one was doing that. You were in the driver's seat. Let's see. Yeah. And you know, again, with, remember, your square is Aquarius, your inconjunct is Libra, and your blind spot is Gemini. So all the air to Taurus is actually difficult. A square, a quincunx, and again, it's a blind spot. It's next to you. So maybe you want to look at the air in your map, or this is also air signs, perhaps. You know, and again, there actually aren't any swords here. So the communication, although that's happening in the external, it's important to also have it within. Let's see what happens when we do. Well, remember, the opposite of you is Scorpio. Sometimes we need a little bit of venom to fix the poison, right? We need a little bit of fear to be like, I heard, like someone was, again, sitting at that light. I don't know what this example is, but someone sitting at that light, like, just messing around with stuff, like, checking the mirrors, like, not really paying attention, and then all of a sudden, it's like they look in their rearview mirror, and something was behind there that scared them. Then they, like, rammed on the gas and was just like, ah! Like, it just went, and that's good, because, again, sometimes a little bit of fear will get us going. Wheel of Fortune! That's what Gemini had. You know? Because where you end up is this is a brave, happy, inspiring, yeah, Cancer had this too, brave, inspiring, like, creative, independent person that is just so grateful for what has been. They're happy about the past. Like, they're working through some beautiful thing in the heart, because you know what? Intuition is always off when we are just, when we don't work with the shadow. We're not supposed to be our shadow or come from that place, but we got to know it, and we have to understand how it works. If we don't, then our relationships are really poorly affected. Do you know what I'm saying? And so again, I see this goes back to your past, yes, your past relationships in any context, really. Something that was significant and important to you. Maybe even for some of you, someone who has passed on. I don't know. But Spirit is helping either way. Okay? Yep. Alrighty then. I hope this was helpful, Taurus. Thank you so much for being here. Any of you who participate in this place and share your comments or thoughts or write sweet emails or donate, or if you join the Patreon garden, thank you so much. If quite a few people jumped over there last month, I hope you enjoy learning and growing there for as however long you decide to stay. And those of you who have been there for a while, I thank you for that. You know, it takes extra effort and time and money, and you know, and I appreciate that, because I feel like when people take the extra step to be a part of circles of things, like be a part of groups that are, and people and places that are helpful and kind, and where people are understood and accepted, like that's a really beautiful thing, you know? And I just appreciate you so much, you know. Also helps the world be more at peace, right? When we figure out more about who we are, we can be a better tribe member. You know, again, I heard it's I'm changing the sentence, but it, you know, love thyself, then adorn thyself accordingly. Okay. Talk to you later. Peace out.